Dearly departed, we are gathered here today to mourn the loss of another cleric. They seem to be few and far between in Barovia, and yet one just keeps dying. Hello, my name is Xbenny, and welcome to another episode of In Loving Memory Of, where we celebrate the life of characters that have just passed, and then get a little bit of a insight into their character, maybe ask a couple of questions that might not come up, but if they do, then I will be shushing everyone, because if it's relevant to backstory and plot, we ain't talking about it. We'll introduce the players later on, because depending on the time, we might just immediately go into the next episode. But for now, the spotlight is on Ray.
Hi everybody, I'm Ray, and I played Queenie. Feels weird to be the only one to do this. I had buddies last time. I guess the best place to start is the backstory?
That is, yeah, probably the best. Like, I was about to say it's completely up to you, but yeah, backstory feels fitting.
Okay. So, can I say her real name?
Sure.
Okay. So, as people probably know, but probably also didn't know because of meta stuff, Queenie was not Queenie's real name. Queenie was a code name. So Queenie's real name is Guinevere. Guinevere Calvis Vesta, previously Eris. So Queenie was born in the height of summer to Alistair and Olivia Eris. Theirs was a charming, comfortable life, with her father spending his days as a minor politician, and her mother taking her to the full house where she worked behind the bar. In the evenings, the family would reunite in her humble abode, cook dinner together, and discuss their day. This picturesque routine continued for the first 6 years of Queenie's life, until her mother became very sick and succumbed to her illness. The loss of Olivia broke Alistair, and in return broke Queenie. He would leave her alone for days at a time, only to come back inebriated and angry, taking his pain and anger out on his daughter. Queenie began to hope for the times where her father left her alone, even if it meant she would be going hungry or ache from loneliness. Trying her best to survive, she began selling her possessions to gain some money to buy what little food she could. This would continue for a year until winter came around and marked the anniversary of her mother's death. It was on that day that Queenie decided she wasn't going to wait for her father anymore and made her way to the full house, shoeless, starving, scared, and clutching her mother's necklace. When she walked through the front doors, the loud guild hall became silent and all eyes turned to her. She was gaunt, skinny, and freezing. Before Queenie could say or do anything, a strong female dwarf and a statuesque female elf came forward and embraced her. Neith recognized these women as her mother's best friends, Hestia Calvis and Neith Vesta. When Queenie was in their embrace, she began to cry and told them all what happened in that last year, her mother's death, her father's hatred, and the trouble she had faced. Hestia and Neith immediately took her under their wings. It took one day for the pair to get the girl properly dressed and shoed, months to get her a healthy weight, and years to mend her broken heart. It was an unlikely little family, but it was theirs. Queenie was raised and taught by Hestia and Neith as their adoptive daughter and apprentice. They encouraged her to learn and grow and to trust others. Under their guidance, Queenie began to interact with some of the kids in the guild, mainly a little golden-haired boy who had a penchant for making gizmos named Jack. When Queenie was old enough to become a member of the guild, she began to fill in the paperwork but struggled to write her own name down. She asked Hestia and Neith if she could take their names as her own, not wanting her father to have any claim on who she was anymore, and stating that she had only been raised by mothers. They both agreed. When Queenie turned 26, she and Jack were given a quest to collect some materials for the guild from the Feywild. The pair jumped at the chance to go and were soon off on their adventure. It was there they met Sonda, who they quickly named Aces and enrolled in their group. They were in the Feywild for 3 months, but in Eberron, that 3 months meant 7 years. Queenie immediately started the process to re-enroll her and Jack back into the guild and pay off their membership debts. The whole process was lengthy, with too much paperwork and took a week to sort out. After which, the trio were once again given another quest to go somewhere else to get more materials. Queenie thanked Onatar that it didn't involve going to the Feywild again. She couldn't imagine having to go through the rigmarole of re-enrolling again, all because of being on a different plane. And that's the backstory.
Now, for those that are a little bit behind and need catching up, Queenie was the only
So, any
one.
questions?
Oh, shit.
Yes, actually. So, kind of on the same vein of what I asked, Saya and TS, where did you want her character to go? What was her end goal? Like, character growth and relationships and end game type of stuff.
Queenie's goal at the end of everything is to make it home. And it's because I think for quite a few years it felt like she didn't have one. And then when she obviously, after having gone through what she went through and then having all that support and people, it was always just get home safe was the main thing. Always try to be there for others and they have been there for her. Where this character was going. It's a difficult one. I didn't really have like set goals with Queenie. The main thing with Queenie was that she was essentially supposed to be there for everybody. So when people were going through like the hard times, so I think there was a time when she made sure like Aurora was eating, she'd helped Saya. My main goal for Queenie was to try and help people not overcome their like tragedy and trauma, but just so that there was somebody there to kind of like help.
How did you come up with Queenie as a character? Like, what are some of your inspirations, or is this just straight, like, pulled out of your head?
Straight pulled out of my head. I did in the beginning. Queenie was supposed to be very, very different in the beginning. Queenie, I took inspiration from the Iron Sisters from the Mortal Instruments, along with Isabel Lightwood. And she was supposed to be a bit more rough and ready and be more like no shit's given, which is in the beginning when we first meet Queenie, she was like that. And I said something very like abrasive about the fact that the difference between Queenie and Austra is the fact that Queenie's alive and Austra's dead. And seeing everybody's reactions from that was a bit like, oh, okay. That's not gonna work. And then it was the 180 of that beautiful thing of being able to kind of roll with stuff and go like, oh, but you two said Feywild rules. And on Feywild, in the Feywild, you have to be on your guard because almost everything is kind of out to get you and to trick you. So that's kind of Queenie took a bit of a 180 there. So the inspiration was there. It was just then very quickly changed and turned around.
When you first created Queenie, did you know, like, kind of exactly how you wanted her to look, or did you, like, kind of and awe and, like, think about it? And besides, like, the tattoo, is there anything that is, like, strictly Queenie that you were like, oh, this just really, really fits for her?
Again, with going from like the cards theme and thinking about like all the different suits and the queens, obviously the main one that kind of pops into your head because of fiction is like the Queen of Hearts. And so I was looking at like old reference images for the Queen of Hearts and looking at all these different colors, and it was like obviously like reds and yellows and blues. And I was like, okay, well then Queenie has to have like the blue eyes, like baby blue eyes, to the point where actually I edited this picture on Paint. I have no technical skills at all. And I think it was something that made both myself and the DM laugh when I was like, yeah, don't zoom in on the photo because her eyes look horrendous far away. Like up close even. Like her eyes look horrendous, like up close, but far away it'll do the trick. The tattoo, it was like very specific that I did want her to have a tattoo. And again, that was a reference to Queenie having a big heart for the people in the full house. And I think in my own head, she got the tattoo from somebody who was an apprentice, who she again had like taken under her wing. Because the whole thing with Queenie is if anybody comes into the guild and they have nothing with them or they're going for like a hardship or something, Queenie will immediately get them shoes, make them a bag, and get them something to eat. And so one of those kids that came in was an apprentice for a few years under like a tattoo artist and a tattoo master. And I, in my head, it's he came up to her and he said, "Hey, I'm really sorry for asking. Nobody else will let me do this. Can you be my first like human canvas?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, sure. Where would you like to put this tattoo?" And he showed her the design and she really liked it. She was like, "Oh, it could like go on my forearm, you know, like the whole wearing your heart on your sleeve." And he was like, that could be a cool idea, but I think it'd be better on your shoulder. Just to signify like the strength of your heart. So that's where she got the tattoo from. And some things that were like they had to be in there.
I got one.
Oh, okay.
What did you really think about Azazel?
Um,
Don't be nice.
mouthy. And almost as if you were using your mouth to distract from other things. As in it was more like a it's more of a knee-jerk response of like something that you'd built up. And it's something that you use to like keep people at a distance. She didn't like that, although it is very funny. There was an episode where you weren't there, unfortunately, and it was myself and Nerin. We went to the master's house, and we were talking for a little bit, and we were like, "Oh, dang, what are we gonna do if Azazel comes after us?" And then me realizing kind of the similarities of our characters, as in like both the dark hair and both the blue eyes. I was gonna say if you turned up, Queenie was just gonna play, "Oh, it's just my big brother card."
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, that's kind of a really good idea. How does Queenie think of the other party members? And same thing with Asher. Don't be nice. Just lay it out.
I guess I'll go in order and just like kind of go around. With Aurora, it was the the sympathy and empathy was completely there because she could tell that this woman was very strong, but had lost a bit of herself, and quite literally had lost like a part of herself because we've gone into the whole twin theory and stuff, and twins literally say when they lose their other half, it's like losing a part of themselves. So with Queenies, it's a whole thing of like, I'm going to empathize with this woman. I'm not going to sympathy her. She doesn't need sympathy at this point. She needs empathy. Incredibly strong, incredibly kind. Just kind of wanted to see the light return a little bit. With Sonda, it was I will protect this bean. This bean is sweet. This bean has had my back. We've been through shit together. And never once did he give up on her, and never ever would she give up on him. Very much a, you're one of us now, you are my family. Like she loved you like a family member.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Yes, and one of the things she really would like is like, because obviously you're. Oh, actually, I don't know if I can say what your failed wild shape is, because obviously I know that. But whenever you would go into like your favorite wild shape, she used to like carrying you around piggyback.
Oh yeah, 100 times. Especially in the guild when they were all like resting up. He would just kind of sit like a backpack on her back and just eat snacks the entire time.
It was one of those things where it's just like, it was just so comfortable. And it just always kind of felt right. And then looking back on stuff, it was always the kind of thing of like, why didn't we like meet Sonda sooner? Like this feels right. Then with Saya, it was hard to get a read on Saya. And then when Saya kind of broke down her walls and Queenie was allowed in and then helped her out, it was more of a thing of like, oh, okay, so again, this is your defense mechanism. I can only help so far because you're not willing to talk yet. And that's fine. People will eventually talk when they're ready. And you don't really know me all too well. And so when Aurora and Queenie did what they did in the town of the name that I can't remember because my brain is smooth.
Valaki.
And we saved that guy from being dragged from the horse.
Valaki.
Valaki, thank you. That's the one, Valaki. It felt very kind of like crushing, and as if she'd like been backhanded almost. Because how was what Aurora and Queenie doing any different or any more dangerous to what Saya had done? Both had the right intentions. Clearly, both didn't go as planned. So that was a bit difficult. And obviously that's something that now Mythical and I won't be able to obviously like explore a bit more. But I would imagine that the girls would eventually probably resolve that. And then with Jack, I think I said this to Dusky before, when we were talking about the characters, and I think I said to him like, Queenie owes Jack her life because Jack allowed her to believe in people again and to trust people, and was probably also the first person to make her smile or laugh again. And I think it was a thing of, it was a very unspoken thing, especially for Queenie, is that Queenie did like Jack more than just like a friend or just as like a brother. She actually like loved you because of the fact that you just were always there and you just always knew.
How old was Queenie and when was her birthday?
Birthday, I don't think we ever really decided on a birthday for her. I know she was born in the height of summer, so probably trying to do the months now. Probably sometime in like July. We did have ages. I know we discussed that and we wrote them down. I'm just trying to find it now. She's 26. She's 26 and she's 5'6".
Did you pick out nicknames first, like code names, and then figure out what you wanted her name to be, or was it the other way around?
I believe it was Dusky who came up with the idea of playing cards. And originally, King was going to be Queenie. But I was like, oh, that's cute. I guess then I'll like be Queenie then. And Jack was like, yeah, do you know what? That's fine. I was gonna have the Steel Defender be called Queenie, but yeah, he'll be King now. He's the powerful one. And so so the idea came from Dusky. I stole Queenie from him.
If you could put Queenie in another class besides cleric, which would you choose?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I suppose Artificer would also work. Paladin as well, because with the Heart of Gold and believing in what you believe would also work. Trying to think of any other classes now. Yeah, I think it would basically be those ones.
Do you have any, like, songs or albums or anything that you kind of, like, attribute to Queenie? That you're like, when you listen to this, you think of her, or when you see this, you think of her?
Ooh. I think they're all stuff that I'd say, but nothing comes to the top of my head. I think the artist's name is Ruel. I think it's called War of Hearts, ironically. Then anything that's kind of like anything that sounds close to like Forge music. So one of them is what it kind of like springs to mind is in the Epic Saga, there's a part in the song called God Games, and it literally is Hephaestus. And Hephaestus's part kind of resonates with Queenie a little bit as well. Because the line is trust is not given, it's forged.
I feel bad. I'm taking up like most of the questions here. Does anybody else have any? Because I can keep going for a while, so I want to give other people some chances to ask questions before I just bulldoze over everything.
I already know a lot about Queenie, but you're asking some very fantastic questions.
I'll take goofy questions. That's fine. I'll take goofy and serious.
Oh, wait, never mind.
No, go on.
I won't lie, I slightly forgot what it was. I was like, make a joke, and then I'm like, oh, don't say that. And then I was like, wait, what was the joke again?
So proud.
What would Queenie classify as a perfect day?
Oh. I think on the day, like, when you wake up and you know that that project that you had is going to be finished, because you know as soon as it's finished, it's gonna work and it's gonna be amazing, and then you get to celebrate because it's gone so well, and you get to celebrate with the people that you want to celebrate with. So probably like a hardworking morning, and then very much like a celebration at the end of the day, because celebrations are few and far between.
What would be Queenie's favorite animal? Like if she could have any animal, like mythical or real, which one would she choose?
Is it a cop out if I say anything that Zonda wild shapes into?
No, that's fair.
She likes a lot of animals, and because of your ability to wild shape, and obviously you've seen more animals than we have, obviously if we're living in the Feywild and stuff as well. It's kind of the thing of like all these new different animals, and obviously the animals that she knows, like it's like, oh my gosh, it's a new one, and I get to scritch, and I get to find out more about this animal, and it's kind of like really sweet.
If Queenie could turn into an animal, which animal would she turn into?
Ooh. My mind immediately went armadillo.
That's honestly so funny. I personally would have thought like along the lines of bear, so any type of bear fits her
That
really
could
well.
work.
Because she's very like family oriented, very protective, but also very warm and fuzzy once you actually get to know her.
Okay, your answer's better than mine. I'm stealing that.
What do you think after, say, everything was done? We killed Strahd, everyone was fine, we got to go home. Do you think Queenie would stay home, or is she too restless and would go out to another adventure?
I think an adventure is a lovely thing for Queenie, but home is home. And so when she gets given like these tasks from the guild to be like, hey, we need you to go and collect this mineral, or we need you to go and collect this product kind of thing, she'll go and do it. But it's always under the guise of, okay, but as soon as I'm done, I can get back home.
You don't think having been spirited away to two different worlds would kind of get her off kilter at all? Like, would she be scared or nervous to go out and do more collection missions after this?
That fear is always there, but again, it's kind of putting that fear aside for the needs of everybody else. I think the thing she probably fears the most is that every time she get, obviously these times that she's been given a mission, and every time something's gone wrong, I think what she fears the most is having to do the paperwork when she gets back.
I forget if we ever talked about it, but who's the god that Queenie prays to? She's a cleric.
Onata.
Oh, right.
Onata, he is like trades and crafts. His symbol, I believe, is blacksmith's tools.
I feel like we have talked about this before. I can't remember if it was on stream or off stream.
I believe it was off stream. I think we spoke more about Suni on stream, and she may have like mentioned, "Oh, I worship Honita, and he's crafting in trees. He's cool. He's really laid back." But I think that was when we were more talking about being Sue Knights.
How do you think Queenie would react if she was kind of plopped in a world where it was no magic? Like magic level 0, just like regular, like medieval times. How do you think she would fare?
I think she'd fare okay because again, she has a trade to fall back on. She is a strong woman anyway. So her power doesn't always come from her magic. Her power does also come from her strength. So I think she would be okay.
What are some of her favorite foods? Like any comfort foods or drinks?
Her mum used to make the most incredible like chicken pot pie. And it was something that her mum used to also make for like the full house because while she was also like the barmaid, she also delved into like a bit of the cooking and stuff. So that chicken pot pie is like her most favorite thing. And there have been many times where the full house actually had the recipe, but every single time Queenie made it, it didn't taste just right.
What did Queenie fear the most?
Being alone. She never wanted to be alone. She hated silence. She also hated anybody being alone, which is probably why she used to look after others and help them out as well.
If Queenie wasn't a blacksmith, what trade do you think she would take up instead?
Queenie also knows like leather work as well. Again, both her mothers were like skilled guild artisans. So one of them was a blacksmith, which Queenie kind of went more towards, but she was also a leather worker as well. The leather work was kind of more um supplemental. So obviously like when you craft a weapon, you don't have to like make the handle. Or if you're making anything, you kind of generally need something to connect them, and not all the time is it like nuts and bolts. Sometimes it has to be like material. So she'd probably go a bit more down like the level work side.
Do you think she'd ever get into bookmaking or bookbinding? Because there's a lot of really interesting and intricate things that you can do with the covers of books with leather.
I think she's probably dabbled in it. Um, I think it's something that requires a bit more dexterity than Queenie has, because with again working in a forge, you have to be like pretty heavy-handed, and then with leather and doing all of that stuff for a book, you have to be very precise. So it would probably be something that like she'd have to learn. But Queenie's up and down to kind of like learn anything. So somebody had been like, "Hey, you're gonna help me make books. She'd be like, okay, bet. How are we doing this?
We all know Queenie isn't really much of a dress person, but in her opinion, what is the absolute most comfortable outfit or piece of clothing she could ever wear? Like, she could wear it forever and she wouldn't be upset at all.
The stuff that she wears to Borgin, which is pretty much just like loose trousers and a vest top. It's light, it's loose. She can move around with ease. She doesn't have a corset like digging into her.
What would Queenie's favorite color be? And would it be something like complementing her skin tone, or is it something that she likes to see but wouldn't want to wear?
It's actually her eye color because she has her mother's eyes. Like as time's gone on and obviously memories fade and stuff, the one thing that Queenie knows for definite is that she has her mother's eyes.
Of course, it's also completely valid if you have any questions for me. If you don't, that's also okay. But I figured I'd open the floor up to that.
As in, I have questions for you, or is it like anybody has questions for you?
Anyone?
Okay.
I mean, this is Queenie's moment, so if you have questions, then fair enough. But if anyone can think of any questions for me, then you are more than welcome.
Can we ask about, like, Full House? Or is that off the table?
Well, there's obviously some things that I'm not going to talk about because they're still attached to your backstory and Jack's backstory. And that's still in play.
Who is it founded by, and who created it? How did it come to be? That's where my brain is at. Cassandra doesn't know that shit either, so...
No, that's fair. Because it was a place done in Eberron, I always envisioned it as a group of craftsmen coming together, not wanting their skills, but also their craft to be monopolized. I always imagined it as a thing of like, oh yeah, the original members of Full House were a group of guild artisans that were all skilled at different things, wanting to make sure that everyone was paid fairly for their craft. And it wasn't something that was like swept under the rug. And then from there it just kind of grew.
This is more of a question for, like, the general... Like, if more characters die, is it gonna be the same thing of, like, them just being sent down to be like, oh yeah, there's more people over here, go follow them, and then they're gonna get to Vallaki and be like, hey, where's this group? And then, like, they're gonna be like, oh, they got kicked out, they're probably over here, and they'll be like, oh, okay, and just follow the fucking, like, trail of breadcrumbs to, like, wherever we are.
No. We've already gotten something different for Ray's new character, but now that you've essentially discovered a lot of the world, if you turned to me and said, I want to be from Barovia, like, you could be from anywhere. If you wanted to be an outsider, you could still be an outsider. There are multiple ways that you could be dropped off in Barovia, like, multiple areas that the module is there, like, well, if they want to enter through the mist, they can come through here, 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 or here.
It's very interesting.
So I would just basically look at, oh, where is the party planning on going? Where have the party not been yet? Let's dump someone here. Go.
Obviously, you can shoot this down if it is a massive fucking spoiler, because I understand. But how is this, like, pocket dimension, like, sucking people in and keeping them there? Like, why can't they leave?
That is a game mechanic that you will either find out later, or I will tell you when the campaign finishes.
Understood. Have a nice day.
I'm fully aware that there's... Oh, go on.
Is TS right about Azazel?
Which bit?
That Azazel's working for Stroud.
That is for Azazel to know and you to find out.
Gosh darn.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I'm fully expecting us when this campaign is over to have another, like, you're gonna ask me all the questions and I can finally answer all the questions because there's no secrets.
I have so many questions.
But I'm fully expecting it to be about the stupid stuff as well. Like, you're gonna ask me a question about this random trinket found in a box in this specific area, and I'm gonna be like, yep.
I totally know what that does.
There's gonna be those, like, really small niche things that are just gonna stick in our minds. Like, what happens if we would have done this? Like, what's down this alleyway?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like, I'm fully encouraging you guys to make notes of things of, like, if we'd have done this, what would have happened? And I will fully answer it at the end.
Because I'm curious about the one alleyway that... No, I say alleyway, but it was a road that we came across coming to the, new city first, and it's like, oh, we could go this way. This is the first turnoff. Like, this is probably gonna head to, the winery. And then we're like, nah, we'll just keep going. And we kept going down, then we saw a sign for the winery. It's like, okay, I have no idea what that road was.
I mean, you still can, in campaign, explore that road.
Question for the group. How do we keep Queenie's body from decaying so we can give it back to her parents when we leave?
There's
Called an urn.
There's also a spell. I believe it's called, I don't think it's Feign Death. It might be Feign Death.
Gentle Repose?
Yeah. Gentle Repose, that's it. Where you put 2 copper coins over the eyes, and I think you have to recast it once every, I think, 5 or 10 days. Yeah,
I think
somewhere
it's
in that time.
7.
It's somewhere in that time range.
Yeah, well, the other campaign had to do it for, I think, you and...
Lennis in the
Oh,
dream.
no, it was... No, it wasn't you, was it? It was William.
It was William, Maxwell, and Lennis. Because in the dream that the Lich had created, all 3 of them had died.
Yeah. The only issue with that spell as well is that the coins have to stay over the eyes. If one slips or moves, then you have to cast the spell all over again. Which is where the garlic glue came into it.
And also shoving you into the bag of holding, because there you go.
You know, that's so fair.
Does anybody have a spare bag of holding on them?
I tried to get one, Ellie wouldn't let me.
I'm not giving you free magical items.
Rude!
Can I pay for magical items?
If you can find someone with the ability to do that.
With what fucking money?
5-figure discount.
We do have a rogue, it would work.
Yeah, but, like, also...
We already got kicked out of one town.
No, literally, where else are we gonna fucking go, man? We have nowhere else.
So we got kicked out of the new town, so we figured that the only place we could go is back towards Strahd, so...
Let's go back to, Barovia, the town, to where Ismark is, and he'll be like, hey! Why are you all back here? And you'll be like, so...
Sure, long answer. Either way, we failed.
We're gonna stay here now.
Good news is that we rented out the space underneath Strahd's castle, so... He'll never look there.
Oh yeah, the vampire will never look in his own crypt.
Oh, so
No.
now you guys agree with me.
As a final resort, yes.
And watch it will work.
Mavak,
already-
yes, it will.
Strutt's already been known as a bad landlord, so I mean, hey.
The only place he probably goes to is his, like, fucking coffin or whatever to, like, go EB at the end of the day and just honk shoe, gets up and is like, alright, time to maniacally laugh for 12 more hours. As he goes in, like, runs around his fucking massive mansion causing havoc. He's not gonna look at the basement. It'll be fine.
I now really want to play a character. It's just chaotic evil going through Strahd's manor, tilting all of his furniture 5 degrees to the left.
Literally.
Yeah, to piss off a vampire.
Or stick all of his furniture on the ceiling.
Just glue it all to the ceiling. It's like, he has spider climb. It's like the same thing.
Exactly. Glue it all to the ceiling. You can also, like, take all of his, like, belongings and put them in places where they wouldn't go. So, like, I know he doesn't fucking eat, but, like, put all of his books in an icebox, or, like, put everything, like, potions and stuff in the lavatory.
Okay, goals
Nobody-
whenever we make it to Castle Ravenloft. You're fucking with
nobody-
Strahd.
Nobody thinks of the idea of like just lining all the walls with just mirrors.
Have fun with that, fucker. You don't know where you're going because you can't see shit.
Mirror maze, and then you just hear a thwack.
That sounds absolutely amazing.
We know he's like pretty high level, but if we cast sleep on him at enough of like a high enough level and just keep doing it, we can probably rearrange his entire fucking castle, make it all mirrors, take everything for ourselves, and when he wakes up he's gonna be like, why am I fucking naked? Where did all of my shit go?
We have goals, we have plans. I like this. This is a good brainstorm.
Are there any other questions? Last call, last resorts.
What is Strahd most annoyed of?
At the moment? Ooh.
Generally, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, in some respects, it's not you guys.
Thank fuck.
You've been quite helpful.
Oh, never mind.
You're welcome.
I bet we have.
I don't think that's a good thing.
That's not a good thing. I'd rather
It
he
is
be
for me
mad
if
at
it
us.
were, I mean.
Okay, one more question. It's more for the party. Do we vote to kill Azazel?
No.
TBD.
Well,
I'm-
considering that he kind of just saved our asses,
Yeah.
not right now, but maybe later.
I mean, you're the only reason why you're alive right now.
Really?
I mean, you don't even know
I'm
that.
dead right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. You could have
We don't-
reminded me.
Couldn't have made the druid cast like what's the one, reincarnate or some shit like that.
They didn't have any healing powers. He asked,
They
and they
don't.
were like, sorry, bitch, we ain't got shit.
Uh-huh. See?
And if they did have the ability to cast Reincarnate, I'm pretty sure we would have lost this fight so much sooner.
Yeah. So no more questions, TM.
Alright then, in that case, we're going to take a very quick 2-minute stretch, breathe break, and then we will be back. But for now, if this is all you end up watching, thank you for joining us. We are here every Friday, live on Twitch, or Tuesdays for the VODs on YouTube. We'll see you soon.